Good day everyone, my name is Charmy H. Mentisa. I am one of the reporter of Group 8 and my topic is all about aquatic biomes. So, the earth is made up of many different ecosystems. The ecosystem on earth can be divided into two groups. Ecosystem on land are called terrestrial. Ecosystem in water are called aquatic. The two main kinds of aquatic ecosystem are freshwater ecosystem and marine ecosystem. So, aquatic biomes, it makes up the largest part of the biosphere. Aquatic biomes are the living and the non-living entities of water bodies constituting diverse ecosystem. In aquatic biomes, there are two types, the freshwater region and the marine region. In freshwater region, lakes and ponds, these range from a few square kilometers to thousands of square kilometers. So, it is a limited species diversity. Next is the rivers and streams. And these are the flowing bodies of waters that are found almost everywhere. These start in areas such as mountains, springs and lakes and move to the mouth such as the ocean. Last is the wetlands. Wetlands are areas of standing water that support aquatic plants. Marshes, swamps, and bogs are all considered wetlands. In marine region, so oceans is one of the types. So, oceans are the largest of all ecosystem. Next, the coral reefs are widely distributed in a warm, shallow waters. Last is the estuaries. Estuaries are areas where freshwater streams or rivers meet the oceans. And now I am going to discuss the one of the types of aquatic biomes, the freshwater biomes, and what included in this area. So freshwater biomes, where the water contain little or no salt. So it makes up only 1% of the world water and approximately 8% of Earth's surface. So in freshwater biomes, it is only a low salt concentration of less than 1%. Plants and animals in freshwater region are adjusted to the low salt content and would not be able to in areas of high salt concentration. So one of the example of this is the ocean. In freshwater biomes, it includes lakes and ponds, rivers and streams, and wetlands. Humans rely on freshwater biomes to provide aquatic resources for drinking water, crops, irrigation, sanitation, and industry. There are two distinct categories of freshwater biomes, the lotic system and lentic system. So what is lotic system? Coming from the word lotus, are much faster flowing and you can visibly see the running water. And it includes stream and rivers. And the lentic system is coming from the Latin term lentus, means the aquatic system is moving very slowly, so slowly that the water appears to be motionless. So it includes also the lakes and ponds. In lentic system, there are three different zones. First is the littoral zone. It is a part of a water body which closer to the shore, shallow water region with light penetrating up to bottom with rooted plants. In littoral zone, it sustains a fairly diverse community which can include several species of algae, rooted and floating aquatic plants, clams, snails, insects, crustaceans, fishes, and amphibians. In the case of the insects, such as dragonflies, only the egg and larva stage are found in this zone. The vegetation and animals living in the littoral zone are food for the creatures such as turtle, snakes, and ducks. The littoral zone generally has a high productivity and high biodiversity. The second type of zone is limnetic zone. Limnetic zone is the open water area of a water body. This zone covers much of the lake's surface, but it is only as deep as sunlight can penetrate. This is maximum of 200 meters. If the water is muddy or cloudy, sunlight cannot penetrate as deeply. No. So the limnetic zone is generally covers in productivity and biodiversity than the littoral zone. Next is the profoundal zone. So, is the deep water near the bottom of a lake where no sunlight penetrates. This zone is much colder and denser than the other two. The other consumer eat foods that drips down from the above or the 8 other organisms in the profoundal zone. The decomposer breaks down dead organisms that drip down through the water. This zone has low biodiversity. And now, let's proceed to the types of freshwater biomes, the rivers and streams. So, these are bodies of flowing water moving in one direction. So, what is the difference of rivers and streams? So, the rivers is larger, deeper, and longer than streams, while the streams is not as deep. You can even walk across, and another difference is that a stream is a small flowing water. So, why the river and streams are important to us? Streams is important because they protect against floods, filter pollutants, provide foods and habitat for many types of fish. The stream also play a critical role in maintaining the quality and supply of our drinking water. Ensure a continual flow of water to surface water. Next is the river. This is a large and natural streams of flowing water. Rivers are found on every continent and on nearly every kind of land. The longest river in the world are the Nile in Africa and the Amazon in South America. Rivers are important. One of the most important things they do is carry large quantities of water from the land to the oceans. Rivers have always been important to people. In prehistoric times, people settled along the bank of rivers, where they found fish to eat and water for drinking, cooking, and bathing. The next types of freshwater biomes is ponds and lakes. So, ponds and lakes are both inland bodies of fresh water that contains living creatures. To determine the difference, the lakes are normally much deeper than ponds and have a larger surface area. Ponds and lakes may have a limited species diversity since they are often isolated from one another. Many ponds are seasonal, lasting just a couple of months, while lakes may exist for hundreds of years or more. Our lakes are formed. They do not stay the same. Lakes slowly die, disappear when the sediments settle in the lake. There are trophic classification of lakes. It is divided in 3 classes. First is the oligotrophic lake. It is a low initial productivity due to the low nutrients content. Such lakes produce low level of algae, so the water is often very clear and high in drinkable water. The bottom water of such lakes contain a lot of oxygen. Water of such lakes contain a lot of oxygen, so the lake has a lot of fish species. Ecologists use the term oligotrophic to refer to non-productive lakes. Oligotrophic lakes are more common in wintering regions. Next is mesotrophic lake. Meso means medium, or mesotrophic means moderate amount of nutrients like phosphorus and nitrogens. The water of such lake is clear, with aquatic plants submerged at the bottom and some algae blooms at the end of summer. The last one is eutrophic lakes. The word eutrophic is derived from the Greek eutropros, which means rich in nutrients. Such lakes have high biological productivity. Due to the high nutrients content, especially the abundance of nitrogen and phosphorus, it is helpful for a large number of aquatic organisms to grow. There are no fish in deep water of this lake, but perch, bass, and other warm water fish are found. The next is the wetlands. Wetlands is a types of fresh water biomes. What is wetlands? It is a part of our landscape that are defined by the presence of water. Some wetlands are permanently flooded, while others are only seasonal flooded, but retain salt water soil throughout much of the unflooded period. Many birds, insects, and other wildlife species are completely dependent on wetland for critical stage in their life cycle, while many other species makes use of wetlands for feeding, resting, or other life activities. So there are types of wetlands. So it is swamp, marsh, bogs, fen, vernal fall, mire, mine, floodplain, wheat meadow, and Pocosen. What are the characteristics of aquatic biomes? Aquatic biomes includes saltwater and freshwater. The characteristic of aquatic biomes vary greatly, depending on salinity, deep area, and location. Freshwater areas include surface waters and wetlands. And in saltwater marine waters includes oceans, marshes, estuaries, and coral reefs in oceans area.
Good morning, everyone. By the way, my name is Christiana Maika Cipino, and my topic is all about the marine ecosystem. So, what is marine ecosystem? Marine ecosystem are aquatic environments with high levels of dissolved salt. These include the open ocean, the deep sea ocean, and coastal marine ecosystem, each of which has different physical and biological characteristics. So, ang marine ecosystem, mao ni siya ang dakong palibot nga tubig nga naay taas nga level nga tunaw na asin. So, naitulong nga nag-include diri sa marine ecosystem. Una, mao ni ang open ocean. So, kaning open ocean, mo ni ang makita nato sa gawas sa coastal area o sa baybayin. So, dili nato makita ang mga pinakamalaking uri ng buhay sa dagat. Example, kaning mga whales or pating o uban pa. So, ang mga species diri kay apektado sa mga aktibidad ng alon, sa hangin, sa presyon, temperatura ng tubig, o uban pa. So, ang ikaduha mao ang deep sea ocean. So, ang kaning deep sea ocean mo ni ang pinakailalim sa dagat na dito low ang temperature tapos gabi kangit-ngit o dito na ang mga species nga wala lisod makita sa babaw sa dagat. So, ang marine coastal ecosystem, nag-include siya sa mga nagkadaiyang type sa marine habitats. So, mao ni ang estuaries, mga lagoons, salt marshes, and mangrove forest, seagrass meadows, and coral reefs o uban pa. The intertidal zone is the area where the ocean meets the land between high and low tides. A tide pool within Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary. Intertidal zones exist anywhere the ocean meets the land, from steep, rocky ledge to long, sloping sandy beaches and mudflats that can extend hundreds of meters. So, ang intertidal zone mo ni atong makit ay mo ni siya ang low and high tides. So for example is kaning sa mga bato bitaw makita nato sa dira nato mailhan kung nagtaas na ba ang tubig or ning mubo na ang tubig. So parehas sa Pugad Beach na mailhan nato nga low tides na or high tides. Kay ang tubig kusog ang iyang pag-usbong or pagtaas. Tapos sa mailhan nato niya na nga sa pag magkaubos na kay grabe ka katunay dito adapit sa Lianga nga hastang taas or pila ka kilometro nimo baktason kay ang tubig tuwa na sa unahan. So mao na ang intertidal zone. So ang ikaduha mo kini ang pelagic zone. The pelagic zone is the region of the ocean outside the coastal areas and it also known as the open ocean. So, ang pelagic zone is mo ni siya ang outside sa coastal areas or mao'y tinatawag nga open ocean. So, diri atong ako nahisgutan, diri ang open ocean nga. Ang mga dagko nga hayop, makita nato dira mga dolphins, whales, mga sharks, o uban pa. So, ang ikatulo mo kini ang bintik zone. The bintik zone is the ecological region at the lowest level of a body of water such as an ocean, lake, or stream, including the sediment surface and some subsurface layers. So, ang bintik zone, mo ni siya ang surface layer or sa kanang pinakailalom sa tubig nga diri sa ocean, lake, or stream. Kini nga picture akong ipakita. Mao na siya ang bintik zone. Diri nagpuyo ang mga microorganisms such as bacteria or mga fungi o mga as well as larger invertebrates or crustaceans and polychaetes. So, ang ikaupat or mo ang last type sa zone is mao kini ang abyssal zone. So, the abyssal zone or abyssopelagic zone is a layer of the pelagic zone of the ocean. So, abyss derives from the Greek word abuk or meaning bottomless. At depths of 4,000 to 6,000 meters, this zone remains in perpetual darkness. It covers 83% of the total area of the ocean and 60% of the Earth's surface. So, ang kaning abyssal zone is mauna ni siya ang pinakailalom sa ocean o sa dagat nga halos dili na matungkad. kay tungod mo rin siya ang pinaka ilalom nga didto nagpuyo na ang mga nagkalain-laing mga hayop nga dili nato masabot or dili nato familiar na makita. So, sunod is ang ocean. So, what is ocean? The ocean is a huge body of salt water that covers about 71% of Earth's surface. The planet has one global ocean, though oceanographers in the countries of the world have traditionally divided it into four distinct regions: the Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, and Arctic oceans. So, ang kaning oceans or kaning karagatan is man siya ang pinakadako nga anyong tubig alat na sumasakop sa humigit kumulang 71% sa taas sa Earth o sa yuta. So, ang planeta ay may isang pandaigdigang karagatan kahit na ang mga oceanographer at mga bansa sa mundo ay may traditional na hinati ito sa apat. So, ang kaning ocean is ihati ni siya sa mga oceanographer sa upat. Mao ni ang una is Pacific, Atlantic, ang ikaduha, ang ikatulo Indian, ug ang ikaupat is mao ni ang Arctic. Coral reef. A coral reef is an underwater ecosystem characterized by reef-building corals. Reefs are formed of colonies of coral polyps held together by calcium carbonate. Most coral reefs are built from stony corals whose polyps cluster in groups. So, ang kaning coral reef is na-built ni siya tungod aning mga maliliit or kani ang coral polyp na maliliit at malambot ang katawan ng mga organismo na nag-uugnay sa mga sea anemone at dikya. Sa kanilang base ay isang matigas, protection na limestone skeleton na tinatawag na calicle na bumubuo sa estruktura ng mga coral reefs. So, nabuo siya tungod sa coral polyp. So, maupod ni ang coral reef is mao ni ang puloy-anan sa mga species or mga hayop sa dagat. Gaya ng isda, malilit na mga isda, crabs, shrimps, mga seahorse, at iba pa. So, naay tulo ka type sa coral reef. Una is ang fringing reef. Fringing reef is the common type of reef. This type of reef grows seaward directly from the shore. They form borders along the shoreline and surrounding islands. So, mo na ang pinaka-common nga coral reef na makita nato sa dalampasigan kanang like for example kaning dire sa Pugat. Dool ra sa dalampasigan ng mga coral reef. 'Di ba kanang maglinyo na sila sa kadaghan ana or yes, daghanay kay na sila. So, mo na example nga picture. Ug ang ikaduha, mao kini ang barrier reef. A barrier reef, a coral reef, roughly parallel to a shore and separated from it by a lagoon or other body of water. A barrier reef is usually pierced by several channels that give access the lagoon and the island or the continent beyond it. So, kaning barrier reef is halos same ni sila or kahanay ni sila sa usa ka baybayin taas pod kay ni siya. So, ang kaning barrier is layo ni siya sa kaning sa lagon or sa mga iba pang anyong tubig. So, ang kaning barrier reef is mo siya ang naghatag daan or naghatag og daan padulong sa lagon o sa isla o kontinente sa kabila nito. So, mo ni ang picture sa barrier reef. Ug ang ikatulo is mao ni ang atoll reef. Atoll reef is a ring-shaped coral reef, island or series of islets. An atoll surrounds a body of water called a lagoon. Sometimes atolls and lagoons protect a central island. Channels between islet connects a lagoon to the open ocean or sea. Atolls develop with underwater volcanoes called sea mounts. So, ang kaning atoll ay mara siya og ring, hugis ring, sing-sing, nga pumapalibot sa isang anyong tubig na tinatawag na lagoon. So, mo ni siya ang atoll reef. So, mao pod ni siya ang kaning makita nato sa dagat or something nga naay once nga naay volcano sa ilalom didto sa taas ana moporma siya og circle na mao to ang atoll reef. Dira mahimo or ma-create ang atoll. So, naay three main ecological group. First is ang plankton. So, ang plankton is the small and microscopic organism drifting or floating in the sea or fresh water consisting chiefly of diatoms, protozoans, small crustacean, and the eggs and larval stage of larger animals. So, ang kaning plankton is mo siyang mga gagmay nga mga organismo nga umaanod sa dagat o sa sariwang tubig. Mo ni siya ang katong gagmay ng mga organismo like kaning mga diatom, protozoan, maliliit na crustacean at mga itlog at larva ng mas malalaking mga hayop. So, naay two major categories ang plankton. Una, ang phytoplankton. So, ang phytoplankton is derived from the Greek words phyto or plant and plankton made to wander or drift. Phytoplankton are microscopic organisms that live in watery environments, both salty and fresh. So, ang ganing phytoplankton is nagmula sa mga salitang Griego na phyto o halaman at plankton, ginawa upang gumala o inaanod. So, ang kani siya is nagpuyo ni siya sa matubig na kapaligiran like sa maalat or sa sariwa, sa dagat ba or sa mga freshwater lake kana ang kaning phytoplankton. Ang ikaduha is ang zooplankton. Zooplankton are small aquatic microorganisms in the water column that include crustaceans, rotifers, open water insect larvae, and aquatic mites. So, ang kaning zooplankton is gagmay pod ni siya nga mga microorganism na kinabibilangan ng mga crustacean, rotifers, open water insect larvae, at mga aquatic mites. Ang zooplankton. Ug sa ikaduha ka type sa ecological group is mao ni ang nikton. Nikton is aquatic animals that are able to swim and move independently of water currents or mga hayop sa tubig na kayang lumangoy at gumagalaw ng hiwalay sa agos ng tubig. Like for example, kaning turtle, mga dagko nga mga nukos, mga fish o uban pa. ug ang ikatulo ka type sa ecological group is ang bintos. Bintos or benthic organism live on the ocean floor, either on the substrate, epifauna and epiflora, or inside it, buried or burrowing in the sediment. Benthic organism may be sessile, attached to a firm surface such as rocks and man-made structure, or mobile, moving freely on or in the bottom sediment. So, ang kaning mga bintos is, for example, mga benthic organism, example niya is ang kaning algae, mga seagrasses na siya sa mga ilalom, or corals kana siya, mga barnacles, mussels, mga sea urchins, and mga sea stars, or kana sila nga mga types. Mao na siya na belong sa bintos. So, estuary. What is estuary? Estuary is a partially enclosed coastal body of brackish water with one or more rivers or streams flowing into it, and with a free connection to the open sea. Estuaries form a transition zone between river environments and maritime environments, and are an example of an ecotone. So, ang kaning estuary ay isang bahagyang nakapaloob na naan tubig sa baybayin na maalat na tubig na kay daghan ni siya og connection or higit pang mga ilog o batis na umaagos dito. At may libreng connection sa bukas na dagat. So, connection siya sa dagat ning estuary. Ang mga estero ay bumubuo ng isang transition zone sa pagitan ng mga kapaligiran na ilog at mga kapaligiran sa dagat, at isang halimbawa ng isang ecotone. Og diri sa estuary, daghay mga hayop diri nga gapuyo, like mga invertebrate, hermit crab, sunflower sea star, Staromydosi, great blue heron, or kaning mga birds sa dagat, dira sila ga tambayan. American widgeon, North American river otter, Corophium volutator, harbor seal, Canada goose, greater yellow legs, lesser yellow legs, American coat, Dungeness crab, lugworm bat, Urahaline, o uban pa.
Causes of destruction of aquatic biomes: climate and seas changes, climate change-related heat, pollution, unsustainable fishing, lack of protection from the government, shipping impact, eutrophication, and development of coastal places. Scientists explain that there are higher concentration of carbon dioxide in the air. The water absorbs much of it, and the water gets contaminated, and the level of the heat in the water rises beyond the expectation of life. When the ocean temperature rises, there are other associated adverse impacts that experience in the aquatic environment. The climate change-related heat, it is the resultant rise in the ocean level. The melted ice caps and glaciers contaminate the water, and it threatens life of aquatic plants and animals. It obviously limits the concentration of solubility of oxygen in the water. Plants and animals will then suffocate. The changes that takes place in the sea due to climate changes related heat are also responsible for the marine habitat loss and destruction, as they may contaminate the water or even alter the water temperatures. Pollution. There are human activities which are responsible for the changes in the marine ecological conditions, and as such may mean alteration of destruction and loss to the marine habitat. Water pollution, air pollution, and land pollution, which intoxicate the environment and make the water contaminated. Thermal pollution as a result of industrial activities also destroy marine habitat. And end result is the depletion of marine animals and plant species. And sustainable fishing. It is always important that fishing activity has the ability to support the environmental conservation attempts. Too much aggressive fishing activity can damage the marine habitat as it leads to loss of many fish and aquatic species. Is the lack of protection from the government. Where governments have failed to acknowledge the importance of conserving natural habitat, there is higher probability that negative impacts will be made. In case of marine habitats, when there are no policies regulating access to such areas, sea plants and animals will shoulder the burden of irresponsible acts. Shipping impact. In many cases, countries rely on the shipping means the transport of bulky cargo. But the effects of the process does not always augur well with the well-being of the sea habitat. Marine habitat is therefore destroyed by the oil spills among associated hazards which poison the water. Eutrophication. Eutrophication can be understood as the process where the fertilizers from the land are washed off into the waters. These fertilizers always contain phosphate and nitrate ions and which they come into contact with the waters. They form basic and acidic compound, thereby leading the dense growth of algae blooms, which in returns create intolerable environment that cannot support aquatic life. Development of coastal places. Due to existence of water transport, many countries develop a consequential drive to develop their coastal regions. But in the process, less or no concentration is rendered on the need to conserve the natural marine habitat and all it contains. Effects of destruction of aquatic biomes. Low oxygen concentration, migration of marine animals, food reduction, extinction of animals and plant species, rapid land conversion rate, loss of coastal natural beauty, and loss of revenue to the governments. Low oxygen concentration. When the marine habitat is destroyed and it is the brink of vanishing, there are various effects that would be likely. The first major impact that acts the determinants and influence the outcomes of the others is that oxygen concentration in the water gets to the lower level, to the extent that can barely support aquatic life. This can be as a result of water or air pollution, which even makes the water to be contaminated. The resultant situation of such destruction is that most plants and animals disappear through death. Migration of marine animals. Some animals may be forced to migrate or sensing that there are elements of environmental hostility. It means that the country or the people that border this particular water body will be obviously deprived of the opportunity to freely gain the benefits of the aquatic plants and animals. Food reduction. Because there is some degree of dependence between the terrestrial and aquatic lives, the former will be hit by the depletion of the latter. The significant example that can be cited in this particular scenario is that humans depend on some sea fish such as octopus, starfish, salmon, and much more food. When they are depleted, humans will definitely suffer from that negative impact. Extinction of animals and plant species. Animals such as whale, shark, and many others depend on the other aquatic ones such as seal for food. Extinction for one means the extinction of others in the food chain. The whole consequence of the marine habitat loss and destruction is that it leads to death and migration of animals. Some plants also die and become extinct due to the extreme ecological conditions. Rapid land conversion rate. Where marine habitat loss and destruction is characterized by the disappearance or the decrease in water masses, there is quick land conversion rate. This may benefit human for settlement, but other benefits drawn from the aquatic life will surely vanish. Loss of coastal natural beauty. The beauty of coastal places is dictated the variety of plants and animals that are existing. This implies that when the natural habitat is encroached or even destroyed, such species or animals and plants become extinct. The extinction takes away the beauty of the coastal areas because its natural aspect is taken away. Loss of revenue to the governments. Coastal regions are major tourist attraction sites. Not only do the sandy beaches attract people, but also the picturesque view of the aquatic plants and animals play crucial roles. Whenever such animals and plants are rendered extinct, the beauty of these places is taken away, and this implies that the countries have to contend with the decrease in tourism activities and, as such, the loss in revenue. Prevention of destruction of aquatic biomes. Controlling pollution, environmental conversion policies, controlled fishing, civic education, restricting over-aggressive coastal developments, limiting land conversion drive, and using designated routes only during shipping. Controlling pollution. The first measure that would be useful in combating this environmental threat would be the step to control environmental pollution. Water, air, and soil pollutions are responsible for the adverse climatic changes. Such changes result into glaciation, melting of icebergs, and in the process, the marine habitat is threatened by degradation. Environmental conversion policies. Human discipline would be quite necessary, ensuring that the problem of marine destruction is solved. Various environmental conversion bodies such as UNEP can be in relation with the various governments so that laws seeking to control industrialization and waste disposal are ratified. Global warming shall be controlled and the threat posed to the aquatic lives will have minimized. Controlled fishing. There are other associated activities that can be used constructively. This may entail the controlled or moderate fishing which is sustainable. Overfishing tampers the aquatic ecology and food chain. It can be done in a way that other plants and animals are not rendered extinct to the process. Overfishing can render certain animal species extinct due to the deprivation of food. Fishing regulations can therefore help in giving guidance. Civic education. Humans sometimes need to be educated on how they can respect the sanctity of the law of nature. This encompasses the duty to treat the plants and animals with care. Civic education can be important in the marine areas as it would equip the people with the necessary skills to help them avoid the destruction of marine habitat. This activity can be conducted in a small group. Restricting over-aggressive coastal developments. Governments can only use the relevant coastal locations to boost other activities such as trade. This move will be very helpful in limiting the spread of urbanization and coastal developments which pose serious threat to the marine habitat. Other policies can be formulated which support and give guidance on what needs to be done during coastal urbanization to preserve the marine habitats. Limiting land conversion drive. When uncontrolled, human settlements can be nuisance to the existing ecosystem. In the coastal regions, it can get over-ambitious and this connotes doom to the marine habitat. As a consequence, plants and animals will be endangered. Such human activities can be moderated by limiting and conversion drive. Using designated routes only during shipping. Countries that are using water transport can go ahead and control the activities. This can be achieved through the strict use of designated routes in order to limit the spread of danger that can be caused by the ships. It can reduce the oil spill disaster and other heat-related dangers. Advantages and disadvantages of destruction of aquatic biomes. Aquatic ecosystem performs numerous valuable environmental functions. They recycle nutrients, purify water, attenuate floods, augment and maintain stream flows, recharge groundwater, and provide habitat for wildlife and recreation for people. Rapid population increases in many parts of the world, accompanied by intensified industrial, commercial, and residential development, have led to the pollution of surface waters by fertilizers, insecticides, motor oils, toxic landfill leaches, and feedlot waste. At the same time, the water pollution and release of nutrient-laden municipal sewage effluents have increased. Water consumption has also increased, thus reducing the flow available for the dilution of wastes. Increased sediments delivery resulting from urban construction, agriculture, and forestry also has resulted in greater turbidity and sedimentation in downstream channels, lakes, and reservoirs, with attendant losses of water shortage and conveyance capacity, recreational and aesthetic values, and quantity and quality of habitat for fish and wildlife. Increased demand for drainage of wetlands have been accommodated by channelization, resulting in further loss of stream habitat. This has led to aquatic organisms becoming extinct and imperiled in increasing numbers and to the impairment of many beneficial water uses, including drinking, swimming, and fishing. Public and private decisions to manage aquatic ecosystems have enhanced water transportation, developed sources of hydroelectric power, reduced flood hazard, and provide water for municipal, industrial, and agricultural purposes. These activities have also altered by the physical, chemical, and biological processes within aquatic ecosystem.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. And I will be the next reporter, and I will talk about fossil fuel. Fossil fuel energy transformation. A fuel is a substance that provides a form of energy such as heat, light, electricity, or motion as a result of chemical change. Fossil fuel are natural resources that are found over million years from the remains of dead organisms such as plants and animals. These sources include coal, oil, and natural gas, and they are widely used to produce energy in various forms including electricity, transformation, and heating. For fossil fuels, ang gasolina ay isang sangkap na nagbibigay ng isang anyo ng enerhiya tulad ng pag-init, liwanag, kuryente o paggalaw bilang mga resulta sa pagbago ng kemikal. Or this change from one form of energy to another is called energy transformation. It means ang pagbabago ito mula sa isang anyo ng enerhiya patungo sa isang pa ay tinatawag na pagbabagong anyo o enerhiya. How does fossils provide energy? Most of the energy comes from fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are energy in rich substance formed from the energy remains of one's living organism. Ang mga gasolina ay nagbibigay enerhiya sa pamamagitan ng proseso na tinatawag na kombustyon, na kinabibilangan ng reaksyon ng gasolina na may oxygen sa hangin. Sa panahon ng pagsunog, ang carbon at hydrogen sa gasolina ay tumutugon sa oxygen upang makagawa ng carbon dioxide, tubig at init. Ang init na ito ay ginagamit sa pagpapaandar ng mga makina, pagbuo ng kuryente o pag-init ng mga tahanan at gasolina. Halimbawa nito, for example, sa kaso ng gasolina, kapag ito ay sinunog ng isang makina, ito ay pinagsama sa oxygen upang makagawa ng carbon dioxide, tubig at init. Ang init ay ginagamit upang palawakin ang mga gas na nagtutulak naman ng mga pistyon na bumubuo ng kemikal na enerhiya sa pagpapagana sa sasakyan. Katulad nito ang kaso ng carbon, kapag ito ay sinunog ng isang planta ng kuryente, ito ay gumagawa ng init na ginagamit upang gawing singaw ang tubig, na pagkatapos ay tutulak sa turbine upang makabuo ng kuryente. The amount of energy that a fuel can provide depends on its chemical composition and the amount of oxygen available for combustion. Fossil fuels such as oil, and natural gas are commonly used as energy sources because they contain a large amount of carbon and hydrogen, which are highly combustible or release a large amount of energy when burned. However, the combustion of fossil fuels releases greenhouse gases which contribute to climate change. Next, fossil fuels are made of hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons are energy-rich chemical compounds that contains carbon and hydrogen atoms. Fossil fuels are made of hydrocarbons? Yes, it is correct. Because fossil fuels are organic substances that are formed from the remains of dead plants and animals that lived a million years ago. These organic materials are composed of carbon and hydrogen atoms, which form the basis of hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons are molecules that contain only carbon and hydrogen atoms, and they are main components of fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gas. The specific types of ratios of hydrocarbons present in different fossil fuels depends on the condition under which they were formed, and the types of carbon that contribute to their formation. It means, ang fossil fuel ay mga organikong sangkap na nabuo mula sa mga labi ng mga patay na halaman na hayop at nabuhay sa milyon-milyon taon na nakalipas. Ang mga organikong materyales na ito ay binubuo ng carbon at hydrogen atoms na bumubuo ng batayan ng hydrocarbons. Ang hydrocarbons ay mga molekula na naglalaman lamang ng mga pangunahing bahagi ng fossil fuels tulad ng coal, oil, and natural gas. Ang mga partikular na uri ito ay relasyon ng hydrocarbon na nasa iba't ibang fossil fuel ay nakasalalay sa kondisyon kung saan sila nabubuo ang mga uri ng mga organismo nag-ambag sa kanilang pagbuo. There are three major fossil fuels. Those are coal, natural gas, and oil. Coal is a solid fossil fuel formed from decaying plants matter, known deposit of coal and other fossil fuels that can be obtained using current technology are called reserves. The most plentiful fossil fuels in the United States. It is fairly easy to transport, provides a lot of energy. And also, coal, when it's burned, however, coal mining can cause erosion and water pollution. When burned, most of the type of coal cause air pollution to other fossil fuels. In addition, coal mining can be a dangerous job. Coal fossil fuel is a primary composed of carbon as well as amounts of other elements such as hydrogen, sulfur, nitrogen, and oxygen. It is formed from remain dead plant cells were buried and subjected to high heat and pressure over million years. The process of coal formation is known as coalification. It takes place in stages, starting with the accumulation of plant material in a swampy environment and progressing through peat, lignite, bituminous, and anthracite coal. Coal is a primary use of a fuel resource for generating electricity as well as the industrial processes such as steel production and cement manufacturing. It can be burned in power plants to produce steam, which drives turbines and generate electricity. Coal is also used as a feedstock for producing a variety of chemicals and materials, including plastic, synthetic fibers, and carbon fiber. However, burning coals releases greenhouse gases and other pollutants, which contribute to climate change and air pollution, making it a controversial fuel sources. Next is oil. Oil is a thick black liquid fossil fuel. Petroleum is another name for oil. It is a form of remains of small animals, algae, and protists. Most oil deposits are located deep below Earth's surface. That is pumped off the ground is called crude oil. A factory where crude oil is separated into fossil and products and other products by heating is called refinery. Petrochemicals are compound that made from oil. So, is a thick black liquid fossil fuels. I think mo na siya kanang ginabuhat sa simento nga black. Kanang ginabutang sa kilid. I think. And oil is also known as a petroleum. Is a fossil fuel that primarily composed of hydrocarbons. It is formed from the remains of tiny marine organisms that died millions of years ago and snuck to the bottom of ocean. Some where they were covered by sediment and subjected to heat, pressure, and over time, organic material was transformed into oil and natural gas. So next is natural gas. Is a mixture of methane and other gases forms from the same organism as oil, produce lower levels of many air pollutants that coal or oil, and is a fairly transport. Is highly flammable. A gas leak can cause a violent explosion and fire. Natural gas is typically found in underground reservoirs as a part of other fossil deposits such as coal or oil. This is extracted using drilling techniques and transport through pipelines as liquefied natural gas. It is also a primary use as a fuel source for generating electricity, heating homes and buildings, and powering industrial processes. It is a cleaner burning fossils fuel than coal or oil, emitting fewer greenhouse gases and pollutants were burned. However, the extraction and transportation of natural gas can have negative environment impacts because such as methane leaks, water pollution, and habitat destruction. Additionally, while natural gas is considered a transition fuel towards a lower carbon economy, it is still a fossil fuel and it ultimately needs to be replaced with renewable energy source to achieve carbon neutrality. That's all. Thank you.
My name is Rose Princess Numeral and I am the last reporter. Today, I will discuss to you what is renewable energy sources. Renewable energy sources are sources of energy that are replenished naturally and can be replenished on a human time scale. These sources include solar, wind, hydro, ocean thermal, biomass, and geothermal. Renewable energy sources are considered to be more sustainable and environmentally friendly than the renewable energy sources such as fossil fuels, which are finite and contribute to climate change through greenhouse gas emissions. The use of renewable energy sources is becoming increasingly important as we seek to reduce our reliance on non-renewable sources and transition to a more sustainable energy system. Here are some forms of renewable energy sources. First is solar energy. Solar energy is a type of renewable energy that is derived from the sun's radiation. The sun emits energy in the form of electromagnetic radiation, which can be captured and converted into useful forms of energy, such as electricity or heat. Solar energy technologies include photovoltaic or PV panels, which convert sunlight directly into electricity, and solar thermal system, which is use sunlight to heat water or air for use in homes, buildings, or industrial processes. Solar energy is considered to be a clean and sustainable source of energy because it produces no emissions or pollutants and has no fuel cost once the installation is complete. Wind energy is a type of renewable energy that is derived from the wind. The wind turns the blade of a wind turbines, which spins a generator to produce electricity. Wind energy has become increasingly cost effective in recent years, making it one of the fastest growing sources of electricity globally. Wind turbines can be installed on land or offshore, and their size can vary from small turbines for individual homes or businesses to large wind farms that can generate hundreds of megawatts of electricity. Hydropower is a type of renewable energy that is derived from the energy of moving water. The energy of the water is harnessed to generate electricity. Hydroelectric power plants typically use the energy of falling or flowing water to turn a turbine, which is connected to a generator that produces electricity. The water can come from a variety of sources such as rivers, dams, or oceans. Hydropower is a clean and sustainable source of energy because it produces no emissions or pollutants. Hydroelectric power plants can range in size from small-scale facilities that serve individual homes or businesses to large-scale facilities that generate hundreds of megawatts of electricity. Hydropower is one of the oldest and most established form of renewable energy and is used in many parts of the world for electricity generation. Ocean thermal energy. Ocean thermal energy is a type of renewable energy that is derived from the temperature differences between the warm surface water and the cold, deep water in the ocean. Ocean thermal energy conversion plants use these temperature differences to generate electricity. Aquatic plants typically pump cold water from deep in the ocean and use it to condense a working fluid, such as ammonia or propane, in a closed-loop system. The resulting vapor is used to turn a turbine and generate electricity. The warm surface water is used to evaporate the working fluid, which is the condensed by the cold water from the ocean's depths. And the cycle continues. Ocean thermal energy is a clean and sustainable source of energy because it produces no pollutants and has no fuel cost once the initial installation is complete. However, the technology for ocean thermal energy is still in the early stages of development and there are only a few commercial OTEC plants in the operation worldwide. Biomass energy. Biomass energy is a type of renewable energy that is derived from the organic materials such as wood, crops, agricultural waste, and municipal waste. Biomass can be converted into various forms of energy, including electricity, heat, and liquid biofuels. Biomass energy is considered renewable because organic materials can be regrown or replenished over time. Biomass energy is a clean source of energy when produced sustainably, as it can reduce greenhouse gas emissions by avoiding the use of fossil fuels. However, unsustainable biomass production can lead to deforestation, soil erosion, and other environmental issues. Biomass energy can be produced through a variety of technologies including combustion, gasification, and anaerobic digestion. The use of biomass energy is increasing in many parts of the world as a way to reduce dependence on fossil fuels and transition to more sustainable energy system. Geothermal heat. Geothermal heat is a type of renewable energy that is derived from the heat stored in the Earth's crust. The Earth's crust contains a significant amount of heat, which is constantly replenished by the decay of radioactive elements and the residual heat from the planet's formation. Geothermal energy can be harnessed by drilling wells into the Earth's crust and extracting the hot water or steam that is naturally present. The hot water or steam can be used directly for heating buildings or generating electricity. Geothermal energy is considered to be a clean and sustainable source of energy because it produces no emissions or pollutants and has no fuel cost once the initial installation is complete. However, geothermal energy is not available in all locations, and it can be expensive to drill the necessary wells and install the necessary equipment. Nevertheless, geothermal energy is an important source of energy in many countries and has the potential to provide a significant amount of electricity and heat in the future.
On my body, I'm an icon. And my girl about a 10. I should fuck her in the Benz. Yeah, you say they